Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sabiqa from Morning B class. I'm going to talk about the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. This novel was written in 18th century and was his prominent and most famous novel. Let's find out why. So the plot. First we have exposition, which was where he introduced the character of this novel. There are Jonathan Harker, a lawyer. He is from England. He traveled to Transylvania to attend some business and met Count Dracula there. When he was going to go, people around him react strangely, but he go anyway. Along the way to the castle, he faces a lot of hurdles and mysterious things, but he safely arrived to the castle and met Count Dracula, and he realized that Count Dracula, even though he is a rich and noble man, he acts very strangely. There are also no servants in the castle, and there are no mirror, and Dracula refused to dine together. Eventually, Harker found out that Dracula is not a human, but a monster or a vampire, and he tried to escape, but no fail. In the end, he did escape, but Dracula has set off to England, and Harker has to remind everyone that they are in danger. From this point on, the point of view shifted to Mina Murray and Lucy Westenra. They are friends, they exchange letters. Mina is a bright woman, young. She's also a schoolmistress assistant, and she's Harker's fiancée. And Lucy is a beautiful, rich woman. Uh, she got proposed by three men. First, there are Arthur. Second, there are Dr. Seward. He is a doctor on a lunatic asylum. And the last, there is Quincy Morris. He's American. The two got rejected, and Lucy accepted Arthur. And then we have also Dr. Seward's point of view. He got depressed because he is rejected by Lucy, and he threw himself to his work. And then the complication began. Dracula's ship has arrived to England, but the captain died. And then Lucy started to experience some of sleepwalking behavior, and Mina is worried about her. Mina also worried about his fiancé, which is not giving news. There are no news about Harker. And then eventually Mina found out that Harker is in Budapest and is really ill. So Mina go to Budapest to attend her fiancé. And then they met, and Harker didn't tell Mina about his experience, but he gave her his journal. And Mina pledged not to open it unless it's really necessary, because I think it's really personal. And back to Lucy, she got worse, she got weaker. Dr. Seward examined her, but found no illness in her body. So he contacted Dr. Van Helsing, a Dutch doctor, and he agreed to come and examine Lucy. And he know that Lucy isn't sick from ordinary illness, but she's possessed by Dracula, because there are two puncture marks. So Dr. Van Helsing know what to do, such as give her crucified, a rosario, cross, and give her garlic. So it protect her from the supernatural, from the evil. But Lucy forgot the procedure, and once didn't wear the garlic, didn't bring garlic, and she become a vampire that haunts around. And the gentleman, Von Helsing, Dr. Seward, and more Quincy, I finally killed Lucy by stab her in her heart and slice her head. And that news finally reached Mina. Mina is really sad that her best friend died, and she wants to chase Dracula because her fiance also had a hard time because of that count. And then eventually Mina also got possessed by Dracula, and because Mina is in danger, the gentlemen try to save her by chasing Dracula to his um, castle in Transylvania, and they did. They chased him after a lot of research and fail and trial and error. Finally, they found out that only Dracula only acts at night. So during daytime, he sleeps in his coffin, and at that time they can attack him, and they did. Just in front of his castle, they attacked his servants, Dracula's servant, and they open the coffin and stab him and slice his head. And then Mina come back to normal, and everyone is finally safe. So that is the climax and the resolution of the story. But I personally feel that it's really anticlimactic, but it's a good story. So we have talked about plot summary, and next we have to talk about the theme. We have a classic theme in old Victorian novel, which is good versus evil. Good is Van Helsing and friends try to help young women from the possession of Dracula, and Dracula is the epitome of evil. And then there is second theme, which is the supernatural versus science. And then the last thing is damnation versus salvation. And then we have to talk about the settings. The settings take place in England and Romania. And as for the place, Stoker really chose dark and mysterious places such as castle and forest and asylum because of the theme is horror, gothic horror. So he chose such dark places. And next we have to talk about the point of view. The point of view is really unique because it's not from third point of view, but instead from first point of view, and there are several characters. So we can easily distinguish between one another. Their writing style is really different, so it's really interesting point of view, and the storytelling is different from each characters. Like Mina is a young woman and she's smart. It's really we can read it from his letters or her letters or journal. And Lucy, she's really good woman, but she cares too much about men because she got a lot of men like her. And then Dr. Seward, straightforward and intelligent. Also Harker, also straightforward and brave from his letters. And lastly, we have to talk about the character analysis. We have several characters here. First, there are Count Dracula. Count Dracula is the villain and hero, but not hero, like antagonist. He is a nobleman, and in his previous life, before becoming a vampire, and he tried to be one again. but the way is wrong. And then there is Mina, a young, bright, intelligent woman, which is really devoted to her husband. It's really interesting because in the Victorian era, an independent character is not much, but Mina here, she's really independent and smart, even though in the end she's still faithful to her husband and she's willing to sacrifice for her husband. And there is Lucy. Lucy is a innocent young rich woman, and she's really pure and childlike, and is really easy prey for Dracula. So that's why Dracula maybe attack her, because she's beautiful but weak and need to be protected. And there is also Van Helsing. Dr. Van Helsing is intelligent and broad knowledge. He know about vampire, but unfortunately, he doesn't want to share information. That's why he caused a lot of misunderstandings. But eventually, after a lot of teamwork and lessons along the way, he succeed in defeating Dracula. And then there is Arthur, Lucy's fiancé. He's also a nobleman. He wants to protect Lucy. And then we have Dr. Seward. He is really interesting, and I think he play a big role here in the novel because he also has a patient which is really like Dracula's man or Dracula's servants. He's crazy though. That he's the patient is crazy, of course, because he's in the asylum. But Dr. Seward is able to read and realize that there are evil spirit because of this patient. So I think he, alongside Dr. Helsing, also play a big role. And there is Maurice Quincy. He sacrificed himself for the sake of Dracula's defeat. He died, but he died a hero. So I think that's all from me. I think we have talked about every aspect that I found interesting in the novel. So that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.